If you're thinking about relocating to North Metro Atlanta or North Georgia, there is one question you absolutely need to ask before you fall in love with the house. What will be my actual commute to downtown Atlanta look like? Because let's be honest, Atlanta traffic is real. And sometimes the difference between loving where you live and feeling exhausted every day comes down to one thing: the drive. Today I'm breaking down realistic commute times from some of the most popular northern suburbs into the downtown Atlanta. We'll talk about the Georgia 400 corridor, the I-85 corridor, and the I-75 Northwest corridor. And also, I'll give you a few practical tips that can make the big difference if you are relocating here. Let's start with the Georgia 400 corridor. This is the area that includes places like Sandy Spring, Roswell, and Alpharetta. If you are in Sandy Spring, you're already close to the perimeter and close to Atlanta. On a good day, your drive into downtown Atlanta may be around 20 to 30 minutes. But during rush hour, especially the morning, you should realistically plan to a closer 35 to 45 minutes. And that is the traffic, and it's moving normally. Now, if you are coming from Roswell or Alpharetta, you are farther north. Those are beautiful establishment area with great shopping, restaurants, neighborhood, and a very strong lifestyle appeal. But the commute is something you need to respect. During peak morning traffic, you might be looking at 40 to 55 minutes and sometimes more if there is an accident or a heavy congestion. This is where the planning matters, and if you are working downtown every day, you don't want to only look at the houses. You want to test the drive. And not on the Sunday afternoon, testing during the actual time, the way that you're always commuting. Because Atlanta on Sunday and Atlanta on the Tuesday morning, they are very different and they are not the same on the driving. Now, here's the practical tip for the Georgia 400 corridor. Look into the North Spring MARTA station. Depending on where you live and where you work downtown, parking and taking MARTA can be a very smart option. You can avoid part of the traffic stress and take the train into the city instead of sitting behind brakes light wondering about life choices. And we have all been there. Now let's move to I-85 corridor. This is a very important corridor for North Metro Atlanta and North Georgia, especially for the area like Suwanee, Buford, and parts of Lawrenceville. This area are popular for a reason. You have established neighborhoods, newer communities, shopping, parks, local downtown area, access to Lake Lanier for some area, and a strong suburban style. But when it comes to commuting downtown Atlanta, timing is everything. From Suwanee or Buford, you're usually about 30 to 40 miles from the city center, depending on exactly neighborhood. If you leave very early, before the heavier traffic starts, you might be able to make it to downtown in about 35 to 45 minutes. But during the heavy rush hour window, especially between 7 and 8:30 in the morning, you should plan for a closer to 55 minutes to over an hour. And sometimes, yes, more than that. The biggest thing to watch is the traffic around the I-285 interchange, because that area can slow everything down. This is why I always tell people relocating here, do not just ask how far it is. Ask how long does it take, the time actually that you need to be there. There is a big difference. 25 miles in the North Georgia does not always mean 25 easy minutes. Now, one helpful option on the I-85 side is the Commuter Express bus system through Gwinnett. Depending on the schedule and your destination, this can be a strong alternative because you might be able to relax, answer emails, or simply not be the person holding the steering wheel every morning. And for some people, that changed the whole quality of life. Now let's talk about the Northwest Corridor. This is the I-75 side, including area like Marietta and Woodstock. Marietta, it's closer and has a great access to I-75. On a standard day, the commute into the downtown may be around 30 to 40 minutes. During heavier traffic, of course, you need to give yourself more room. But for many people, Marietta feels manageable because it gives you access to Atlanta while still offering the strong suburban lifestyle, historic charm, restaurant, shopping, and established neighborhoods. Now, if you're moving farther north into Woodstock, you get a different lifestyle. Woodstock has become very popular for his downtown, trails, restaurants, community feel, and access to Cherokee County. But the commute to downtown Atlanta is longer. During peak congestions, you might be looking about 45 to 60 minutes and sometimes more depending on where you're starting from and what traffic looks like that day. The big advantage on I-75 side is the Northwest Corridor Express lane. Those reversible toll lanes can save time during peak times, commute hours, especially if you're commuting from the main flow of the traffic. They are not free, so you want to factor that into your routine and in your budget. But for the right person, they can make the commute much more predictable. And that is really the key word here, predictable. When you're choosing where to live, especially if you're relocating, you are not just choosing a house, you are choosing your daily rhythm. You are choosing what mornings looks like, you are choosing what time you get home in the evening, and you are choosing how much energy you still have left when you walk through that door. So here is my honest takeaway. The time of when you live in Atlanta can completely change your commute. A difference of 20 minutes in your departure time can sometimes add 30 minutes to your drive. That is not an exaggeration. That is Atlanta reminding you who is in charge. Second, do not only look at the mileage. Mileage can be misleading here. Look at the route, timing, and the road access, school drop-off patterns, constructions, express line, options to MARTA and commuter buses. Third, think about your lifestyle. Some people do not mind a longer commute if they get more space, more privacy, or a different community feel. Other people would rather have less house and more time. Neither one is wrong. You just need to know which one fits your life. My biggest advice is this: before you buy, test the commute. Drive it in the morning, drive it in the evening. Check it on the weekdays. Look at the alternatives, because the ride home should not only look good in the pictures, it should work for your real life. If you're thinking about moving to North Metro Atlanta or North Georgia and you're trying to figure out which area fits your work-life balance, I would love to help you compare the communities, the lifestyle, and the practical details that matter before you make a move. I'm Lucia Ursu, and I help buyers and sellers move wisely to North Georgia. And remember, the house matters, but your everyday life matters too. And I'm just one text away to make a smart decision.